Hello YouTube, I'm back with the next My Little Pony review, and today I'm reviewing the 2017 My Little Pony movie that just came out, or October 6th. Or for some people a little earlier, and for other people probably later. Probably in November or even December, or you'll probably get the DVD eventually later. But before I begin, I should note that there's going to be spoilers in this movie, so if you've not seen it, I know at least one person has not seen this movie yet, don't go any further than this point. I would suggest turning back now and wait for the... Either go see it. You'll find it online now, I'm sure. I've definitely seen it online. That's where I ended up seeing it as well. Or you can wait for the DVD. The DVD I think is due out early next year. If not earlier this year, I don't really know. I don't remember exactly, but before else, let's get into the unfortunate mishap that occurred because one of the storyboard writers got kicked out of the theater because of she was apparently mistaken for being with, like, you know, the girlfriend of someone who was actually at the theater recording the movie. I mean, how stupid can you get in that instance? This is someone who worked months and months to get this right, and you're kicking them out because of a big misunderstanding. I'm hoping at the very least you got some sort of compensation. If it were up to me, I'd say, okay, you can only get your money back for that. You also get a free screening of the movie, and you get to finish it. No interruptions whatsoever. That's what I would do. Now, granted, yes, I know she probably had to pay for the ticket anyway, considering the fact that they can't just allow people to say, "Oh, I worked on the movie. I was in the store. I was storyboarder, or I was, you know, animator, or whatever." Because then everyone would do that for free tickets, and that would be a big problem. They would not make any sales or anything. Tickets are expensive depending on how you look at it. And at least where I come from, at least the theaters I've gone to, they're around like $8 each for an adult ticket. I don't go to theaters all that often, so I don't know whether those probably fluctuate now and then. But then you're factoring in food and drinks, so it's probably like $20 to see a movie. And this was a movie I was not entirely thrilled to see in general. And considering the fact all the spoilers they showed in the movie, or before the movie, they released the album early. They released all the toys early. Now, yes, that may be because, oh, we want you to see the movie. Well, you're also spoiling the movie at the same time. Because all the songs were released. Pretty much every song in the movie is on the album, with the exception of one. And thank God, because it was actually the worst on the list. But in terms of the movie, it was not that great. I didn't have any high expectations on it in general. And no theaters near me were showing it that I could find. So I figured, okay, I'll just go watch it online. So let's face it, if I can't see it in theaters, they're not losing any money if I don't see it in theaters. And besides, box office earnings mean absolutely nothing when it comes to theater, how successful a movie does, because you end up paying for that ticket and whatever drink and popcorn, whatever else you want, regardless of whether or not you actually see the movie, because you pay for it all before. So they make money regardless of whether the movie ends up being a bomb to you or an absolute success. Now granted, I understand a lot of people seem to enjoy the movie. I was not one of them. The songs are rather mediocre. I think if you wanted to put any of them, if I had to pick one, I think Time to Be Awesome was probably one of the better ones. Of course, even that was so bad, even Twilight walked off on that one. It's like, nope, I'm out of here. I can't believe you're making a fool. You're making a serious situation. You're making totally stupid. Now, that was Rainbow Dash being the one doing it. Of course, she's been known for pure stupidity. She does an even dumber thing later, and incidentally with the same group, with all the parrots. You know, Captain Solano and his group. She gets them all hyped up. You know, Time to Be Awesome and all that, because they were like, you know, we can't do anything and stuff like that, and then. I think, of course, Rainbow Dash does probably one of the dumbest things she does in the entire film. She shows off the Sonic Rainboom and is like, oh, you know what? I can do one better. I'll show off my Sonic Rainboom because I know I can do that. You guys don't believe it's true. So, and of course, you know, what I'd arguably consider the main villain, even though she really isn't, considering the fact she's working for the Storm King, who ends up being a total buffoon in more ways than one, goes, hey, I saw that. I know where they are now. I mean, how stupid can you be? Rainbow Dash's arrogance goes over the top in so many ways. This takes it to a literally new level because they're in the sky when she's doing it. And you can't really be subtle with the sonic brain boom. When it happens, and pretty well everyone around knows it. Literally, in the main six even all saw that. So she goes from probably, saving the group to completely screwing them over. Even Twilight goes, oh my god, I cannot believe you just did that. And I probably would have faced something harder. It's like, first the song, and now this. You just made it a whole lot worse. You gave us away completely. Even some of the character names are pretty stupid. Capper, Dapper Paws? I'm not kidding. That's an actual name. That is facepalm worthy in itself. And that is the name of the cool cat that kind of helps them out towards the end, but ends up betraying them at the beginning because he's working for Tempest, as it turns out. And Tempest is actually probably if I had to pick a new character to like, it would probably be her, because she at least looks like a villain. She should have been the one ordering the Storm King around. But she wanted to work for him because he had, I guess, apparently made a deal with her to say, okay, you worked for me, I'll fix your horn, because her horn was broken, as it turns out, from the past. And I think the comic that kind of goes along with it, the prequel comics, I think maybe hint a little bit more about that. I haven't read them, so I have no idea. But as I understand, the comics give away a lot in the movie, so definitely don't read the comics if you haven't read those either. But if you're this far into my review, you're spoiling anyway. Which kind of also brings up the point of how, even before the movie was released, we got boatloads of screen caps and lots of little clips, including when they spoiled the ending. I'm going to spoil it right here now anyway. This is partly also why I decided not to see it in theaters, because I pretty much saw the movie for free without having to, well before the movie was released. Not a good idea. I mean, they had little voice actor highlighting, which included Tempest, and that, yes, includes the fact that she basically ends up getting nice towards the end. She was never really, I guess, evil per se. I mean, she did have a rather seemingly sinister-looking personality. She was probably the better one of the two. She seems like, nope, you're listening to me, you're going to do exactly what I say. And here we have the Storm King just kind of playing around. He gets all the power, and he's like, oh, hey, look what I can do. I can raise the sun and the moon back and forth. I'm like Celestia and Luna. And it's like, come on. If you're the main villain, you should not be doing that. What kind of reputation are you going to set if you're going to joke around like that? We don't even know why he's really called the Storm King, because he barely does anything with it. And that reminds me of the other characters that are in this. We got the Hippogriffs, which are really Mer ponies, really, because, I mean, they're dubbed sea ponies, but that's confusing to the G1 versions, which are totally different. And they have mermaid tails. And if I call them sea ponies, you can't tell whether I'm saying sea space ponies or sea ponies as though it's one word. But they weren't a whole lot better either, even though at least some of it was justified, because we only see, they're only involved in the movie for 5 minutes until the end of the film, where Twilight basically tries to steal the one thing that's been so precious to them. It proves to be way awesome, save the world sort of deal. And then Princess Skystar, as it turns out, she's, I think, one of the few that's actually named directly, ends up being like, no, you can't have that, we're done, I'm calling off the deal, get out of here. And then it gets worse, because Twilight ends up basically playing her own stupid card by, when things hadn't gone right, she yells at all of them, and they get into a little argument that ends pretty well in disaster. None of them want to speak to her again, and she doesn't want to speak to any of them again, because she's regret everything she's done. But of course, it gets worse for her, because she ends up getting caught by Tempest, kind of showing, and sort of, this is where we finally see how much Twilight and Tempest kind of sort of relate. Both have made a mess of things. Tempest is not all that she seems to be, especially towards the end of the film, when she reveals that Tempest's shadow is not her actual name. As I recall, it is Fizzy Pop Berry Twist. God, what another stupid name to come up with. Are you serious? No wonder she didn't want to say it out loud. I mean, Tempest's shadow is a way better name on so many levels. For Pete's sake. That's worse than some of the G3 names that have been released. Holy cow. Now he's supposed to, and this is a more recent version of the show. You could have been done better. I think you could have done way better and just had her name stay as Tempest Shadow. Now, I'm sure that's probably a little bit of humor. They deliberately chose a really poor name to kind of be hidden away against a really more sinister sounding name, but heck, even Storm King is better than that. But of course, Storm King is too busy fooling around with whatever powers he gets his hands on, and he's easily beaten too. I mean, Tempest Shadow doesn't even need her full horn to do that. And then of course we get the usual, oh, well, I know you're bad, I know you've done a whole lot of bad things, but you're going to go over the edge, and I'm going to save you anyway, because that's something that's been done for like ever. In fact, even G1 did it with Katrina. In fact, almost the exact same scenario. But that was spoiled even before the movie even was released. Good job, people who were doing those voice actor highlights, whatever they called them. Songs, yes, I kind of already went to probably the best of them. They were not very good in general. I mean, most of them are rather poor or subpar. I mean, Sia's song Reivew is probably, I think a lot of people enjoyed that one. Not me. I mean, we got it first revealed as a toy, got kind of the highlight. But it's not very good. And I predicted exactly where it was going to be. I mean, granted, I had two places I had figured, okay, it's going to be towards the middle, maybe, to get them back, get their spirits back up after things were trashed. No, it's at the end, which is the other part I thought I correctly predicted was going to be. It's right at the end! They just threw it in there at the end. It did not even have to be there at all. They could have left it out. Now, there's some possibility that maybe this movie was actually longer and they cut it down to what it turns out to be 89 minutes, because, I mean, the 99 comes from including the 10 minutes of credits. Yes, there's 10 minutes of credits. I watched pretty much to the end. I kind of had to skip over some bits because it was so long. It was like, I guess I had some minor interesting things around regarding the credits. You get little things in the background going on. The credits actually get messed up once in a while. You see some of the same characters from the movie kind of somewhat interacting either with each other or whatever. But really, this was just a whole bunch of celebrities thrown into a movie that basically didn't even end up really establishing not only all the characters, they were kind of thrown in there into a film that was not even a typical length of, it was about just barely around the length of an actual movie, a typical movie. It's about an hour and a half. But we really didn't get to see a lot of the new characters. They were basically thrown in there. I mean, we didn't get to see much of the mother, I forget her name, but all the celebrities got very few roles. In fact, even the person that played, Sia's character, Songbird Serenade, like Lemonade, if you want to, remember how to pronounce it, she gets very few lines in the movie. Literally, nothing more than a little spat towards the beginning of the film. That's it. She doesn't really get anything else until the end when she gets her song, which I have to understand. She apparently does have a thick accent. I had never heard of any of these celebrities before this movie was released. And of course, it's hard to understand the lyrics. I actually had to find the lyrics so I could understand what she was singing about. I mean, some I picked up on, some I did not. Probably most I did. I mean, I guess the main chorus was pretty easy to pick up on. But other than that, it was pretty difficult to pick up on in general. It's a shame. Because I looked at the concession items that they had. They had, an actual bucket for popcorn. That looked better than the movie itself. How sad is that? This movie was definitely not up. It was, I guess you could say it met my expectations, which were pretty low for the film in general. I mean, I was intrigued. Oh, and it turns out there's going to be a second movie. They're actually thinking about a second movie. I'm really hoping it's better and probably longer than the other one, because this one was pretty much... It was quite underwhelming. The songs pretty well sucked. I mean, the characters were not very memorable at all. I mean, there were a couple moments where I could say, okay, that was interesting. Things I didn't expect to have happen. I didn't expect the argument, as I recall. I didn't expect... I mean, a lot of it I did expect, because, I mean, there were clips everywhere of the film, but there were definitely some things I did not expect. I did not expect Capper to actually betray them. He certainly seemed like he was doing his part. But holy cow, that was not a movie. I will definitely not be, this was a pretty poorly designed movie. In general. You're going to disagree with me. I know there's a bunch of people out there that actually really liked the film. But this, to me, was not the film I had... I wasn't excited for it. I mean, there was nothing in the trailer to get me excited for either. I mean, we had the little trailer, and we had the actual film, the actual trailer. We had a teaser, and then a trailer, and then it really did not. It was a pretty big letdown. I mean, all the merchandise. If you're releasing the merchandise before the movie, then you're gambling on it being a big success. If it sucks, then your merchandise does not sell. Period. It's going out the window, pretty much in the trash. You've just lost a whole bunch of money based on, and that's a shame because, you know, if the movie had been epic, I've been pretty awesome. I've had a lot more nice things to say about it. And I was willing to give it a shot, despite everything that I'd not only already seen, but the things I didn't like about it upon first looking at it. But it's rather disappointing. You know, that's an hour and a half. That was rather underwhelming. We didn't really get to know the new characters all that well. We saw some of the same antics we see in the show. I mean, it would have been nicer if Tempest actually got more and more intense and actually took out Storm. I mean, she did take out Storm King, but why was she working for him and not the other way around? She should have been the one. She had enough power, clearly, to just throw him off the edge. Because even with her horn broken, she obviously had enough power to intimidate others. In fact, one of the characters actually comes up to Tempest partway through the film, and she managed to let him know that she doesn't mess around. And this is only with a broken horn. The horn isn't just broken, like, you know, dangling on one fragment. It's gone. In fact, we reveal much earlier, I think she gets involved with the Ursa Major. So yes, even that makes an appearance in this film. But honestly, I'm not impressed with this film. I'm hoping the second one is better, should they choose to do it. We need more screen time. They need more fleshing out of a bunch of stuff. I mean, luckily, I guess, if you haven't seen Season 7, I know some may have not. There is no spoilers of Season 7 in there, but it was rather underwhelming. I mean, the jokes were rather poor. I mean, there was really nothing good to look forward to this film for me. So, yeah, that's my review on the 2017 My Little Pony movie. Thanks for watching.